I'm now going to show you how to edit the reflection points features. So from the mountain screen, pick the mountain you're going to look at. This one's got 8 reflection points in it. Go to the edit pages and move to the reflections tab. And you will see that there are 8 reflection points listed down below here. Each reflection point requires some submission requirements. So when the individuals are doing their individual submission for each of the questions, there's a minimum character length. We'd recommend 50 characters, which is a couple of sentences perhaps. Then the team get together after they looked at the AI generated summary of their individual reflections. They then have to comment on what they've seen. And we recommend that this requires a bit more effort, and 200 characters would be typical. Finally, it's important to understand this next one. To avoid the risk that students decide to do all their reflection points in one go, this means that they cannot start their individual reflections until 48 hours before the milestone or the reflection point is due. You can vary this. We recommend 48 hours, but you could keep it tighter at 24 hours, or you can have a bit more latitude by going out to perhaps 72 hours. But it depends a bit on the scale of your game as to how many hours you want to give them on that. If you look at the reflection points, you'll see they're called forming A, forming B, storming A, storming B. This is following the Tuckman process. The system will have automatically taken the 8 reflection points that you chose when you set up the game and spread them evenly across the period of the game. So if you set up the start and end dates, this will have spread them evenly throughout the game. You can actually choose to edit the title of the reflection point if you want. So you want to give it a name as opposed to reflection point 1. You can easily edit that by just changing the text there. You can change the points if you want to. You can change the points to give more points or less points, but it's less points for the first reflection. So just change that to 100 points. And you can delete the reflection point if you really don't want to do that reflection point. And finally, you can change the deadline. So if that deadline, say, on the 21st is, oops, the wrong one. If that deadline is 21st September, happens to be a public holiday on the Saturday, maybe you want to make them do it on the Friday, so you can easily change the date. But bear in mind that will obviously mean they're not evenly spread anymore. Finally, you can expand the milestone to see what the sentences, statements that are being made for each of the 4 different subject areas here, and you can collapse them so it's easy to manage the different timings and points, etc. You are able to add reflection points. Should you have deleted one, you can move them around and add another one, but we'd recommend sticking with either 4, 8, or 12 reflection points. If you're adding a reflection point, you're adding what type of reflection from the Tuckman series. You've got A and B. A is a positive statement covering the topic. B is typically a negative perspective on the same subject, and C is a differentiator, an alternative statement to the A or B. And it adds it with its own title here. It defaulted to today's date, but you can change that easily.